What's up?
What's going on, Jacob? How you doing, bud?
Hell, I'm on the right side of the grass. How are you, buddy?
Man, I'm making it, Jacob. Where you at? You in Nashville or Georgia?
I'm in Georgia. I'm in
You're in
Georgia.
Georgia. You guys partying hard since that win you guys had yesterday?
Well, I actually quit drinking about 2 months ago, but I'm still
Okay.
partying for them. I'm still partying for them.
You partying sober.
Well, I got these right here. I don't know if you can see it or not. I got the
No, you
the
don't you
Coors
actually
Edge.
no, you actually don't have your camera on, Jacob.
Oh shit. Hold on. How do I fix that? That shows how redneck I am. This is
Are you
this is
using
crazy.
okay, what are you using? A laptop, phone, computer? Oh, there you go. There you
No,
are.
no, I'm on I'm on a MacBook.
Okay, there you
Um,
are. I see you.
I'm on these bad boys.
So,
The Coors Edge non-alcoholic, man.
okay.
They're pretty good.
Okay. See, I've never had a drink of alcohol in my life, never done drugs, never done anything. So I like when people are like, yeah, I'm drinking a Coors. I'm like, well, that's cool, but I don't really know what that means. But I kind
Yeah,
of sit like, you
yeah.
drinking a Coca-Cola or are you drinking a Dr. Pepper? And it's like, okay, I'm saying that there's two similar things there. I have no clue.
So, yeah. If you haven't, don't. I mean,
I'm not going to. No,
it, it's definitely one of those things. It's absolutely cool for somebody who's not an addict, but
right.
unfortunately, I was an addict, and I had to get control of it. And now, just because I enjoy the taste of beer, I drink these. So, um,
So
but yeah.
they do have a alcoholic flavor, but you're just not going to get drunk from it, get the buzz from it.
No, I mean, yes and no. I mean, they don't taste like a real beer by any means,
Okay.
but but yeah, absolutely. You could drink 30 of these and never catch a buzz. So no.
So when I think it was Haley that sent me over all your information, and I was like, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
We're gonna
Great.
get to what now?
I just said she's great.
Oh, I've worked with Haley. I honest to God, I don't know how that she and the platform, the people had found me. Like it was just out of the blue one day. I get an email. They're like, "Hey, we've got this person, yada yada. Would you like to have them on your show?" I was like, "Sure," but
Right.
I didn't ask. I wasn't like, "Hey, man, how did you get my email?" It was like, I'm at this stage now, brother, where people come to me and I'm like, you know what? I don't care where they got it from. They could have paid for it. I don't know why they would have. Not worth it. But I'm just glad they did it. But I did
I
not
just love the
realize
Ghostbusters hat, dude.
what now.
I said I just love the Ghostbusters hat.
Appreciate that, brother. Dude, have you seen the new Ghostbusters? The Afterlife?
I've not. I've not.
Let me hold the phone right there, Jacob. Let me tell you something. I was against seeing it. I really was
Oh,
because growing up, because I'm only 23, I'll be 24 on the 19th. But
right.
I grew up in a family. My mom and dad are so old school. Like I say this all the time on the podcast. They just now got an Amazon Fire Stick, and they think it's crazy that they don't have to wait to watch
Right.
Yellowstone or whatever. And so, growing up in the early,
Yellowstone. Yellowstone is my thing though.
look at this, brother, Yellowstone boy.
1883, the
18,
4 6 is all that.
we'll get to that chat in just a second. I want to finish about the Ghostbusters thing first. But what it is so when I was growing up in the early 2000s, my mom was just like, you know what? I'm going to show you all the movies I used to watch when I was younger. And it was Ghostbusters. It was Gremlins. It was Uncle Buck. It was Planes, Trains, and
Yeah.
Automobiles. And those happen to be my favorite
Yeah.
movies. And Ghostbusters is one of those that's just, you better not effing touch it. Because if you touch it, like they screwed it up when they did that stupid female led one, which I'm all for female led things, but it was just bad writing, bad directing, bad everything. So when they're like, "Hey, we're gonna kind of reboot the series," I was like, "Shit, here we go." But let me tell you something, brother. I cried, I laughed, I cheered. This new Ghostbusters movie, dude, it is marvelous.
It's a banger. It's a banger.
Oh,
What it sounds like.
it is fantastic. It is fantastic. But you
So, all
should,
right. So I don't want to hear anymore because I have to go watch it now. So
you got to go
don't
watch it.
ruin it.
You got to go watch it. And
Yeah.
if you can't get it, I don't
Yeah.
know if it's I don't know if it's streaming now, but I have people that actually, I go through, like, I do movie reviews, so production people send me
Yeah.
movies. So if you can't get it, Jacob, let me know and I'll send it over to you for free, brother.
Oh man. Oh, all right. All right.
But how is 1883? Because I've only been through the first episode. I haven't fully committed yet because I was trying to wait till the season finale of Yellowstone hit, which it did, and
Right.
I haven't caught up on it. So what's 1883 like? Is it worth the watch?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll say this. I don't know Taylor Sheridan personally, but I know people who know him, and I know a buddy of mine, Emerson Miller, who shoots all of the
Right.
like photographic promo for them. Any image you've ever seen of promo for Yellowstone has been Emerson, and he's
Okay.
freaking great. He's absolutely great. But 1883 takes a little bit more of I guess a twist as to how hard it really actually was, like back in the day with the horse and carriage days and whatever. It's, if you're not okay with like harsh reality, it's not for you. But if it's something where you're searching for real, it's absolutely for you. And I think Tim and Faith and a lot of the cast that they had were incredible, and I think
Brother,
Taylor did an incredible job casting it. But
Tim McGraw, I knew he was great when he did Friday Night Lights, and then he did like The Blind Side. But this,
yeah.
oh my good, it takes him into a whole new level of acting. Like, and it surprises me because he's a country boy, and so it's like he surprised me when he's like, F you, F this, F that, like F and GD, and just like every sentence, and I'm like, woo, this is intense. But damn, Tim, I'll take a bullet for you right now for taking that role.
I guarantee you he probably don't speak that way on a
probably
daily basis
not.
in personal life. But no, I mean, when you take on a role, I mean, I give him super props. I mean, he lived that role, and he
Yeah.
kicks ass at it, and I enjoy watching it. I really do. I think he's doing a great job. I haven't even made it that far into, like, there's the fourth episode, that because they had a couple weeks there where that you couldn't, I guess, see the episode because of the Yellowstone season finale. So I haven't even seen the 1883 fourth episode yet. So I'm still I actually, now I'm gonna go watch it tonight when we get done with this. But yeah, I think that Taylor's got something, man. Taylor, he really, it reminds me a lot of like when Sons of Anarchy came out. Like you see a producer or director that gets in this niche, and he has his world, and he creates it in such a good way that everybody gravitates toward. And that's what I'm seeing with Taylor Sheridan. I'm super excited to watch and see what he's got going on.
He has an unapologetic way of writing. Like, he's like, look, if you're not going to air this, then take my stuff off air because it's going to be this way. You're not going to tell me how to do it. But I think that works for what his
It
world
reminds me
is.
of the wrestling days.
Suck it, man. D-Generation X in this bitch. But I got to know, what do you think of this season of Yellowstone versus the past 3 seasons? Because in my honest opinion, I think last season 3, I thought I was bored the whole time through the entire last season. I was like, okay, it's slow, nothing's happening. And then they hit you with that final episode, and you're like, whoa. But then this season, I thought was constantly getting better each episode. It wasn't slow. It was just pacing and going. But I have a hard time believing Jamie is the bad brother, because Jamie has been my boy since the first episode has happened. And I'm like, look at the way you're fucking over Jamie here. like, so what are your thoughts on this season of Yellowstone versus the past?
Jamie as a character, I don't know him as a person
Right, I don't
outside of
either.
acting, but Jamie as a character, I think, is somebody that's extremely misunderstood and wants to be loved, and I can relate to that,
Yeah,
and I think that he's going to do whatever he can do to uphold that, that want or that need to be loved or whatever. So I think that what's going to happen is, at least looking forward, if I'm predicting
sure.
something, he's not gonna end up with his biological father or anything, which I know at the end of that he
Right.
shot him and whatever. So I,
Spoiler
I,
alert.
ne- I, ne- I well, I'm just saying, I never thought
Yeah,
he was going to take that side, but I'm
sure.
just, what I mean by that is, I think the ranch is the ranch, and that's where he's at. I mean, he's got too much. He's got too much there, and the biggest thing is regardless of what, at least in my mind, what he or Kevin Costner's role may think, he brings something to that ranch,
Sure.
when it comes to the good old boy system. I grew up in a super small town, and it's nice to be able to pick up the phone and call the sheriff and say, "Hey, I need a favor," but that show, man,
Yeah.
it's the best show that I've ever seen outside of Sons of Anarchy, for sure.
Well, if that's a statement you want to make, you should try Cobra Kai on Netflix.
I tried it, but
Really?
I've
Okay.
never. You're gonna laugh at me. You're gonna laugh at me though,
Sure.
because I've never seen the Karate Kid. So
Okay.
everybody was giving me crap about, oh, you got to check out Cobra Kai. Well, I went to watch it and I didn't really get it. I was like,
Okay. That's
whatever.
that's fair. Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm not gonna laugh. That's fair enough.
And so then they were like, you never seen the Karate Kid or whatever. So I have to go back and see the OG, and then we'll go from there. And I
Yeah,
apologize, but I am a redneck, so I'm gonna, come on.
man. Whatever makes you comfortable, brother. But before we jump in
Hey,
here, I want to talk about your album real quick, which I listened to the full thing. Stool
yeah,
Preacher. That will be
yes, sir.
available. I'm actually going to say it's out now because it's going to go up on Monday. So it's already out now wherever you get your music. I listened to it about, I think Haley sent it over to me like 2.5, 3 weeks ago. I was listening to it today, refresh my memory. Brother, I don't know what you did, but you've got something on you, brother. I don't, I don't know what, and I'm trying to say this as clear as possible. You have something that I think a lot of people don't have, as in now in country radio, I think people or men in general sound the same. They have the same generic sound. When you're listening to a song, you're like, who in the hell is this person? And then you realize you're like, oh, I didn't realize it was XYZ because they sound like ABC. But I think with you, you just have this raspiness and tone in your voice that a lot of people don't have. And I'm trying to make this as complimentary as possible without trying to, pull the sticks out of the
No,
straw.
I totally agree with what you're saying about radio. I mean, there's so many people that I think have their own lane. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not friends of mine, but I can speak on, like, Hardy and Morgan Wallen and some of these guys that everybody hates on. I love what they're doing. I
Yep.
think they're fucking killing it. Excuse my
Yep.
French, but
Nope. You're cool.
I think they're going in their own direction, which I think is like outlaw country. Which other people would look at
Right.
that as, well, they're doing pop country. Who cares what they're doing? They're doing it in their own way. So whatever they're doing, they're laughing all the way to the bank. So I don't look at stuff like that as I understand what you're saying, and yes, you're correct. There are a lot of people that sound the same, for sure. And me, I have a lot of Keith Whitley and Travis Tritt
Sure.
and Skinnerd and Allman Brothers and all that stuff embedded in my sound, that's completely different than the people that I just mentioned. So yes, it is different, but uh, there's this movement, like Ernest, for instance. I mean,
Sure.
that that song that him and Morgan just
Flower
did.
shops.
Yes, yes. Like, dude, come
Holy,
on. That's
that's
traditional. That's traditional country, and they're bringing that crap back, dude. And I want to see more of that, you know, and that's what I've been doing this whole time. It's just nobody paid attention until we got to the point where they had to, you know. So
well, here's what I love to see in country radio, Jacob, and maybe you could, speak for this as well, is I love seeing people, not going to name any names, but I love seeing people bitch and moan about the state of country radio, where it's headed. And then the next album,
yeah,
they're doing the same thing that they were just complaining about. I love seeing it because they're
right.
like, you know what? I was wrong and I'm not even going to admit
Well, that's just because people are fake and all they wanted was
it.
the
Yep.
money. And if you start this business for the money, you in it for the wrong reasons. I've been doing this for 15 years and I still ain't made no money. So, I mean, I wrote Out There with Luke Combs and Ray Fulcher and James McNair, and we had our triple platinum record on Luke, and it was incredible. But this ain't all it's chalked up to be if you're an indie guy, and a lot of
Right.
people think that it's all wine and roses, and it's not. I mean, it takes a minute. It takes a lot, and I think that a lot of what you're talking about is just people that don't know no better and they're
Right.
green.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't going to go here this early, but I want to play a little bit of Out There from Luke Combs. This is a song that you did write about, and we'll talk about it here for a second if it's cool with you.
Yeah.
I said I'm just trying to get loose, trying to make a move, no matter what we do. As long as we're out there, somewhere where we can go, get away from it all, get lost, and God only knows where we'll go. And hell, I don't care, as long as we're out there.
Have you ever
Yeah.
worked with a guy that is not trying to make this all about Luke, but just is that vocal in how hard he sings?
Absolutely not. No, Luke is Luke. I mean, I'll text him right now and tell him he's the son bitch. He is the son bitch. I mean, he is.
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
he's the guy.
so I guess we'll just start here and then we'll work our way back and into a full circle. So when you're writing Out There with Luke Combs, obviously you guys were both signed to the same record label at the same time, went on tour together. Is that right? And then
Well, not at that time. No,
okay,
he worked with 30 Tigers before me, and now
okay,
I'm signed with 30 Tigers.
right,
But at that time, he was working with 30 Tigers before he went on to Sony.
okay,
And we had written that song, and that song kind of, I guess helped him with his management and Lynn and some of the people, Cappy, that he works with. But I don't know the inner workings of his journey. I just
sure,
looking
yeah,
at
yeah,
it
yeah.
and enjoying it. But that song definitely was a huge factor in a lot of, at least from what I've heard from the team at 30 Tigers, of why they wanted to work with him.
So when you guys sit down and you write this song, and it's just released, the album is massive, it blows up. What
Right.
are you thinking when you realize that, okay, this album is going on to sell 3, 4, 5 million albums and my song is on there? Because not a lot of people, unless it's myself, are looking in the CD, the index card thing that you flip through and you see the actual songwriters of the song. So kind of what are your thoughts on when you're writing Out There, you're thinking it's just going to be one of those album cuts that he could put out as a single, but he may not. And then obviously the album blows up.
Man, I mean, it was never like, oh my God, please cut this, please do this.
Sure.
It was just, man, it was some buddies writing a song, and Luke was cool enough to cut it, and it was really cool. I mean, where it is now was definitely something that even Luke will tell you today he didn't expect. You know, I mean, we didn't expect anything out of it. I mean, we were sitting in Jasper, Georgia at my manager's house. And we were talking about what the hell we gonna write about. And I was like, it don't matter as long as we're out there. And that's where the title came from. It was like, as long as we're out there. And I was talking about being on the patio. So we went outside and started writing the dang thing. And that's where it came from.
you know, I'll say this and then we'll kind of move off the Luke thing. But I have never had any regrets doing this podcast. People that I've, had on like you, or people that I've denied. But before Luke Combs blew up, brother, he had just released Hurricane, and people had asked me if I wanted to interview him, and I had denied it because I was just thinking, like everybody, oh, this is just a guy that has one song is just going to disappear. Honestly, because that's the state of radio. And
it's one of those when you know things, yeah.
I'll be damned. I denied it, and it was like the next year he was the next big thing. And I was like, damn it, you could have had something big there, bro.
Yeah, man. I mean, my buddy Taylor Phillips wrote that with him, and my manager Jeff actually was a publisher on that song. And that when they wrote it, I mean, we knew it was big, and Jeff was like, man, this is gonna be a big one. And Cappy and Lynn and everybody and David will see us at 30 Tigers that pushed that before Luke was with Sony. And dude, their radio team, Pam, and everybody just absolutely killed it. And that's why whenever I got the offer from 30 and, some of the people, like I just mentioned, Pam and all those guys, I mean, I'm using the same exact team basically that he had with Hurricane on this project. So we're trying to take one out of Nick Saban's playbook per se, but Nick Saban lost last night. Go Dogs! But we're trying to take one out of the playbook and see how it goes.
So, kind of going back to your album here, Stool Preacher, which again is available now. So 13 tracks. All these tracks that I saw were produced by you. Now, I want you to tell the people kind of, what does that mean when you are producing a song and or an album? Kind of what does that entail?
Well, they all aren't produced just by me. I mean, there's definitely
you were in the reins of it.
Correct. Yeah, I just don't want anybody to think that I did all of it, because there was so many moving parts and so many people that were so influential. Noah Gordon, Jesse Triplett, lead guitar player for Collective Soul, who was my producer on my last record and did most of this record. Brandon Metcalf, Jeff Catton, my manager, executive producer on this. But there was a lot of hands involved. But we all just come together, and these guys that I mentioned is kind of what you mentioned earlier. They don't like the way, I guess, that country music necessarily has landed right this second, but they know where it's headed and where it's going. I mean, there's guys like John Party that are still championing real country music. There's guys like Brothers Osborne that are still championing real country music. Chris Stapleton, Dierks Bentley, Blake Shelton. I mean, there's a million. Luke, Eric Church. I mean, a lot of them, a lot of the big mains, Jason Aldean, that still does his thing that I think is amazing, because Aldean just has his freaking sound, and nobody can sound like Aldean, because Aldean is Aldean. So I would love to do something with him, but especially because we're both Georgia boys or whatever, Tyler Farr. But yeah, I mean, all those guys have this camaraderie that it's Georgia music, and Georgia music sounds a certain way. I mean, you can go back and listen to Corey Smith or early Brantley stuff or whatever, and it all kind of has this same thing, and it all pulls from Allman Brothers, Alan Jackson, Skinner. Like, it all has this Southern sound that is embodied somewhere in it. And that's what I feel like I kind of pull from in the depths. And then I add a little Keith Whitley and a little Travis Tritt, and and then at the end it's Jacob Bryant somewhere in the middle,
Right. But when you use Travis Tritt a lot as an example, and I think that's an excellent example, because Travis Tritt was able to go from ballad to a boot stomp song to outlaw country real quick. In every album, you know, you would see at least 3 or 4 of each.
Diversity for sure. I mean, there's no reason that a record should sound the same from the first song to the end. I mean, you don't want to hear the same song 13 times. I mean, this new record we're putting out, it has anything from ballad to honky tonk to cocaine and whiskey to, you know, psychedelic, weird Sturgill Simpson meets Tyler Childers to lovey-dovey. I mean, there's a little bit of everything on there, and I love that about it. And, you know, a lot of times people ask, well, if you had to describe your sound in one word, what would it be? It's like, well, you can't, because I don't believe in one sound. I believe in music that I love, and I call it country done my way. So it's just music that I love.
You know, I was when I was listening to this, I was looking at the track record, the track listing on the album. And it's number 7 on the track on the album, and it's Good Old Boy UK Rock Mix. What exactly is a UK rock mix?
Okay, yeah, I can explain that. So we had it's called Snake Farm Records, which is a umbrella under Universal Records, that basically signed us to a record deal, but only in the UK, and they released the Practice What I Preach record specifically in the UK, and it made it in the top 10, and Pour Whiskey on My Grave stayed number 1, I think, for 6 or something weeks or something like that. But yeah, that's what that is. We basically went in and we re-recorded Good Old Boy and put a little more ass behind it, is all it is. I mean, it's the same song with a little more rock behind it, because in the UK, the rock version was basically going to get more traction. So.
Okay. So kind of take me back a little bit, Jake. I want to know, I don't want to start from the beginning. Let's start from, you write Out There from Luke Combs. What's next? What happens next in your life chronologically?
Well, I guess at that time, divorce and all kind of shit. But yeah, I mean, all kind of stuff, man. I mean, there was no rhyme or reason to what I was doing at that time. It was just following a dream and having and me and Jeff, I call it my team, but it was literally me and Jeff, my manager, until we got to where we're at now, to where we do have a team. So there's really no, I guess, perfect story of what happened or why it happened or whatever. We just worked our tail off and toured and went from a van to an RV to a bus, and was blessed enough to tour with guys like Cody Johnson and Co Wetzel, and did some shows with Easton Corbin and Clay Walker, Gary Allen, and it's just God putting you in the places you need to be is the only way I can kind of chalk it up.
So with this album here, Stool Preacher, kind of where did the inspiration for the title of the song come from, or the title of the album? Sorry. Right.
Well, in the Bible it says, "Where 2 or more gathered in His name, that is church." And regardless of how you believe or whatever, it doesn't matter if you're in a bar or if you're in your truck or if you're on a back road or if you're sitting there praying with your wife or whoever you're talking to. You know, you can have church with just you and me. I mean, we could have church right now.
Yeah.
So I got to thinking about it one day. I was singing Sometimes I Pray, the song that me and Josh Phillips wrote about my mom passing, and it reminded me of being a barstool preacher. It was like, I don't have to prove anything to anybody, but I see grown men crying in the front row because of this song, and I felt like I had a calling on my life at that time, and that's kind of where that title came from.
Man, I like that, because I think, you know, I'm not against it, but I just think that when you title an album from a song, obviously it's easier, but I think you put a lot more work into it when you're just like, you know what, I'm just going to name this whatever I'm feeling at the moment. Like Keith Urban, he's like, look, I don't name any of my albums after one particular song because it's not just that one song on the album. It's 13, 14, 15 others.
Right. Yeah,
So
I mean that makes total sense because it's not one song. It's a work of art. It's not one thing you're trying to say. It's I'm a barstool preacher, and what I'm trying to say is I'm a sinner, I'm a lover, I'm a fighter. I've hurt, I've lost. I'm basically just trying to tell people this is me and this is who I am. That the barstool preacher thing is basically just me being me.
So going back, you kind of, I was listening to some of the interviews and was trying to take a little bit of notes. You mentioned that you grew up in a small town in Georgia playing bluegrass with your grandparents. Is that right?
Yep.
So you were always part of a musical-esque family.
Yeah.
So how did that morph into, okay, we're just picking around here, just having fun, playing a little music, to actual, oh, you know what, I actually want to do this full time and make a living out of it.
Right. It's sad, but it really never happened until my mom passed. It was kind of her dream to see me do something with it because she thought I was good enough. And of course, me being young and whatever, I was like, yeah, whatever, Mom. And it just became once she passed, it became, I got to make Mama happy, or I got to make Mama proud, or whatever for me. And I just, I don't know. I wake up every day with the goal of, I'm going to make this happen some way, some shape, some form, whatever. Because she said I had it, whatever it is. And maybe one of these days when I'm standing on the Opry stage for my debut or something, I'll be able to look up at her and say, Mama, you was right, and that's kind of my goal. So.
But I think moms are always right to a certain extent. Mom.
They are.
My mom's still with us, but she was always like, you love to write, you love to read. Why don't you do like journalism? And then I was like, man, I really don't want to go back to school. I had a hard time in school with bullies and stuff, and then it turned into this. And I was like, I'm doing some type of journalism at least. And it's like, you know what? She was right.
Man, mamas are the best. I mean, if I had 2 minutes with my mother, I'd give up everything that I have right now. But unfortunately, God has his plan, and he took her, back in 2010. But it's definitely a driving factor in my career.
But whatever you did in your past, from drinking and drugs, but I don't really care about that because I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't like talking about that or hearing about it. But I do want to know one thing, and that is you had a heart attack at the age of 19.
Yeah.
Kind of was that the wake up call where you're like, hey, I need to get my shit straight?
I wish it would have been.
Oh, really? Okay.
No, that was Red Bull, the energy drink. So if anybody's listening, don't drink Red Bull. But no, I had 6 Red Bulls in 2 hours, like an idiot, working a night shift job.
Yeah.
And overloaded my heart and had a chemically induced heart attack, put scar on my heart. And I haven't had even caffeine since 2009 when that happened. But yeah, I mean, the drug abuse and the cocaine and the drinking and all that stuff came afterwards, and somehow it didn't kill me, but I think that had a lot to do with God.
Yeah. Now those energy drinks they make them so delicious to a certain point where you're like, I gotta have one, but then like you don't realize the altercation that it has after it. You're like, you're gonna be paying for it with, down the line or whatever. My dad was having thought his heart was skipping beats or whatever. Then he went and they were like, you're having too much caffeine, bro. You're having 2 Red Bulls a day. You're having a whole pint of coffee. You're having Coca-Cola. They're like, dude, you got to calm down. And I think a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that Red Bull's bad if you did it,
No.
1 in the morning or whatever, but don't do 6 in 2 hours, people. But I believe that I guess if you're an addict, you do everything wholeheartedly. So I chose to do Red Bull wholeheartedly.
That would be something now. I feel like, hey, Jake, we heard you. Let's get you a sponsorship going from Red Bull. That would just be
They probably don't like me because I've told people to leave them alone a couple times, but no, I mean I have nothing against the brand or anything like that. It
yeah.
wasn't their fault. It was me being a young dumb idiot. But
Yeah. I was listening to Dak Shepard's podcast, and he had I think he had like Ashton Kutcher and
yeah.
But he had like Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis on there, and I want to know because I'm just very curious on people's health and how they do things. They were mentioning that even Dax was joining in where he was like, look, you don't need to bathe every day because it's releasing these kind of acetones in your skin and it's drying your skin up. You need to have the oily complexion because that's actually what helps moisturize your skin. So what is like your health regimen when it comes to that stuff?
I wouldn't agree. I mean, I take a shower every morning.
I do too.
I'm not I'm not back in the day now when I was younger, I hated showering. I'd go 2 or 3 days or whatever at hunting camp and whatever. But no, that's kind of how I start my day. And if I've noticed if I miss that shower, it like ruins my entire day. So, but yeah, I mean, I shower, I put my bearded pup, beard oil and beard balm in, and outside of that's pretty much it. I mean, the standard shower, nothing fancy. But I do use, like I said, Bearded Pup beard products. He's a good buddy of mine. Not paid in any way, but if anybody needs beard products, hit up Ron at Bearded Pup. But he kind of got with me early on and was like, hey, we'll give you the products and whatnot, and it makes your beard feel like a dragon's tail, man. It's great.
Now, let me ask you, your beard is very well trimmed. For those that's not watching on like YouTube or anything, just listen to the audio format. It's very well trimmed. It's not like Chris Stapleton where you just let it grow. So did your father teach you kind of how to trim a beard up, or it was just like learning in the process of screwing it up so you have to shave it all off?
No, daddy don't keep a longer beard. I mean, this is actually kind of short for me. I used to keep one a little longer,
okay,
back in the day, but there's looks that I prefer, and then there's also looks that the business prefers, and losing a little bit of it had to go, and that was part of the business part. But
right.
But no, if it was up to me, the damn thing be down to here. I don't have any rhyme or reason behind it. I just kind of trim the sides and keep it from looking bushy out here. But as far as the length, I'd rather have it long.
So tell me kind of how the signing for 30 Tigers kind of came about.
Man, it was, to be honest, I mean, we reached out to them and we got turned down the first time we reached out. And we were talking to Broken Bow, and we were talking to a couple other labels, Chris Lacey at Warner when Cody Johnson hadn't signed there yet. And there was a lot of different labels we were talking to. And Jeff, my manager, reached back out to 30 Tiger, was like, man, I think you're really missing something on Jacob Bryant. You need to check it out. And David Macias, the guy, the HMFIC over there, he came back and he was like, all right, I get it, and he's been absolutely phenomenal with us. And it, like I said, everything happens for a reason, or at least I believe so. And it's been great. The team over there, Zach and Matt, and I mean, I could go down the list of people that work over there that are just absolutely great. Especially for a label that gets labeled as an indie label.
Right.
They do the same things that a major would do. So I hate putting them in the category of an indie label because they're playing big boy ball over there. They're not playing around.
So how long after you were signed, they were like, okay, let's get some new, because did you release any music besides a single before this album come out?
No. I mean, Jeff and I had started releasing like a single or two before we signed this, and then once we signed it, we started putting together the plan, of course. But up until January 14th, I mean, you're about to see a lot more of the plan kind of go boom.
That's kind of what I want. I'm kind of, because usually this is how it usually goes in music business: is you sign, you release a single if it does good. Most of the time you put out an EP with 4, 5, 6 songs, maybe 3, and then if that does good, you progress to an album. It's amazing to me that they weren't like, hey, we're gonna release the single, whatever happens, we're gonna do an EP and then an album. It was just kind of boom, let's do an album right away.
Well, no, because we already had recorded the record. The record was done before we ever even started talking to them. So basically, we pitched them the Practice What I Preach record, and it wasn't the right thing at the time. And then we got this done, and that record went #1 on iTunes and did what it did in the UK and whatever. And we had this record kind of sitting on hold as to, like, what are we going to do with it? Who are we going to partner with? And we knew we had to find somebody to partner with distribution wise, because it was just too good of a record not to do it. And they ended up being the ones with the most home feeling, because that's all that matters to me. I'm a loyalist. I don't give a crap if it's Capitol, Universal, Curb. I don't care. Like, the name doesn't matter. It's no different than a cooler to me. Buying Yeti doesn't matter, because an Igloo will hold ice just as good. So the way I look at it is, it's the person that believes in the music the most. And David Macias came through on that, and we landed over there, and I couldn't want anything more than to stay with them. So,
well, I'm going to play your single right now, which is Heartbeat. I'm gonna play a little bit of this.
Baby, close the shades and let's forget the day. Lay right here and stay. Kiss the world away. I just wanna make love, fall asleep and wake up, listening to your heartbeat.
I see you over here playing your head along. What's going through your head as I'm playing these songs?
I'm just proud, man. I'm proud. I'm a super humble dude, and I don't look at stuff like, oh wow, that's great. But I was telling a buddy of mine earlier today, when you cut a record, you go through the recording process, and you go through, editing, and I don't like this, or turn this up a little bit, or do this, or whatever. So you get tired of the songs by the time you're done with it.
Yeah.
So I literally haven't listened to the record probably in the last 4 to 6 months, so I could almost distance myself from it.
Right.
And then I came back to it, and I listened to the whole record front to back the other day. And when I got done, I called my manager, and I was like, you know what? That's a badass record. It's just good from the front to the back, and I'm super proud of it, man. And I can't wait for other people to hear it. I really can't.
Yeah, man. It kind of reminds me of like when you mentioned that was going to be kind of leading into another chat, was, a lot of people, like artists, people don't realize that it takes a long time to make an album, and even music. And so when you're finally hearing this album, which you can get now, you've heard it for a year and a half, 2 years, you were mixing and stuff. So when you're finally playing it live and people are like, play this, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of times where you're like, I'm damn tired of that song already, and this is the first time I'm going to play it live. Like Elton John said that about Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, or Farewell Yellow Brick Road. He was like, the time the damn album come out, I was tired of it. I didn't want to play it anymore. But he was like, but there's nothing we could do. We had to promote it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like Heartbeat, for instance, I really didn't expect Heartbeat to even make the record, but the more we got to thinking about it, it was like, man, it's kind of a cozy, sexy, warm by the fireplace kind of song, and it made it, and now it's, you know, on TikTok 200 and something thousand views when we posted it last week or something like that. So it's doing pretty well. I'm trying to learn the whole TikTok thing because I ain't no dancer or nothing like that. So it's an odd platform for me, but I'm trying to get involved on there.
Well, you know, that's always a great platform to get involved in. But the thing is, getting stuck between making yourself known and becoming the TikTok person. Like, that's what I'm afraid of. My friend Walker Hayes, I am so afraid that he's just going to become the TikTok song that went viral for Fancy Like, and then it's just going to
Oh
ruin
God,
him.
you talking about the yeah with Fancy Like
Yeah, yeah,
Applebee's?
yeah. Yeah.
I don't know him is why I'm asking that, but
Yeah. That's him. Yeah.
no, that well, dude made a killer tune, I guess, because
Hey
it's
man.
viral all over the world. So
He's got a brand deal with Applebee's and shit. So
that's killer. That's
I was
killer.
I was looking through your Instagram and I saw that you have a vinyl record out, or it's coming out. You can get it on your. That must be the coolest thing for somebody like you. Like, you're like, damn, because I have a collection of vinyls myself, and I'm a vinyl
Right.
connoisseur. Like, I'm always looking for,
Right.
like, they re-released the Kiss albums, and
Yeah.
me and my brother, the biggest Kiss fans, were going through it. I'm like, I don't want none of that Walmart re-release crap. I want the originals because it's just I love the smell, the story, the way the album, if it has a tear on the bottom, you're like, damn, how did that happen? How long has it been here? You know, I just love that story. So kind of, what's it like knowing that you're going to have a vinyl record out? Because that's to a lot of people, it's not a big deal, but to some people, it's a lot. It's the biggest deal you
Yeah.
could have.
To me, I mean, we did print some vinyl on the last record, but this one we printed like 2,000 copies of vinyl. Sorry, I got
No, you're
a
cool.
notification. Somebody went ding. I'm sure you heard it too. Um, but we printed like 2,000 copies, like a limited press of it. And you're right. I mean, holding music in your hands is gone. You know, being able to buy music and actually physically hold it with the, you know, with the insert cards and all that stuff is gone. You know, all you got to do is get on Spotify or Apple Music and stream it. And we making this record, we were like, man, this is so throwback in so many levels that it should be vinyl for sure. So the vinyl thing for me is like, I know damn well that there's more people like me that want to hold the music in their hand and want to say, yes, I bought this. And it's not just, yeah, I bought this, and the only way I can hear it is when I play it on my cell phone. So that's why we did the vinyl and the regular CDs as well. And I know CDs are going out of style or whatever you want to call it as well. I mean, hell, my MacBook don't even have a CD slot
Right.
on it anymore. So it's kind of crazy when you think about it, but I'm not giving up on it. I think it's almost like if you're a gamer or something, you know, like if I go buy Call of Duty, I don't want to buy it on the Xbox store or the
100%.
PS5 store.
100%.
I want to go buy the CD and put it in my thing because it's like, then you have it, you know, but
Well, then
it's,
it's also the thought of, and I'm the same way with books and because I'm a gamer as well. I'm a big nerd,
yeah,
but it's the same thing for me because it's like, what if something happens and I put my credit card on that PlayStation? Somebody hacks my PlayStation, gets on my credit card information, or the damn game just doesn't work. I can't take it back to Walmart or GameStop and be like, hey, I need another copy. It
right.
doesn't work. What am I going to do? You know? So I'm the same way with, I got to have, for some reason, a physical copy in my hand. You know, people go to Kindles and I'm like, nah, I'm going to go to Barnes and Noble right up the street and I'm going to buy a hard copy. It's just this old school to me that I hope never goes away.
Yep, absolutely.
So where can I get my hands on one of these vinyl albums for this because I have a station in my right here in my studio where I put I got a few books, I got some shirts and all that where I put all my people that I've had on raising up on the studio. So when everybody walks in, they're like, damn, that's cool. Who's that? And you can share the story. Get on your website. Is that where you can get it from?
Yeah, but I mean, I'll send you one. I ain't worried. You ain't gonna buy it.
Nah, I'll buy it. I'm not gonna do a free handout.
But yeah, it's JacobBryantMusic.com.
Okay, cool.
You ain't gotta buy it though. I'll send you one.
Okay, cool. You can send me one. Where so before we leave out of here, brother, I appreciate all the time. Where can people find you on like Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, stuff like that?
Instagram is at Jacob Bryant Music. Twitter, I think, is at Jacob Bryant and the number 1. TikTok is at Jacob Bryant Music. Outside of that, I think that's it. I think pretty much everything's at Jacob Bryant Music other than Twitter.
You know, it's weird that people, because you were like the number 1 thing you got to go follow is TikTok. And it's weird because it used to be YouTube. It used to be like, okay, my YouTube is this. Now it's TikTok because, and it's weird to me to see that. It's weird to see change. And I don't do good with change. And it's like, I still go to YouTube all the time and I watch YouTube as TV. You know, I'm eating my dinner or whatever. I'm watching some dumbass fall off a house or something on YouTube. It's just, and then it's crazy to me to see, because I do something like, I got to go follow TikTok because I do movie reviews and I do all this shit over there. And it's like, but it's hard to keep ahead of all the social media things that's happening. Like, I'm not good at social media. I don't have a lot of followers because I'm not good at it.
Yeah, I mean, you were talking about watching YouTube. It's funny. I consider myself a frag head, which is obsessed with cologne. So I watch fragrance reviews and all this crap on YouTube all the time. So my wife.
Wait. How are you gonna watch a review on a cologne and not know what it smells like? Because that would be the whole point of a cologne, right?
Well, yes and no, but if you know enough about them, the notes that they talk about, you already know what they smell like, so you can understand how they blend well together. Anyway, we're going to go in a whole rabbit hole if we go down that road. But I have, I'll have to show you a picture of it sometime. I have like over 150 bottles of different cologne.
What's your favorite?
Yes, sir. That's hard. That's really hard.
Okay, well, what's your most expensive?
Most expensive, Creed Aventus, which is about $500 a bottle.
Are you spraying gold on yourself, or does it just smell like so magical?
I didn't pay $500 a bottle.
Okay,
that's what it is.
Okay.
No, it does smell like Sex Panther. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, that's cool. Well, Jacob, look, brother. No, I appreciate your time on here, brother. I know you got to go. We got you booked for an hour, so I got you off here like 8 minutes early. So I appreciate your time on here, brother.
You're good, man. Thank you so much, and a huge thank you to promoting the record and giving a damn about real country music, man. I appreciate the hell out of it.
Hey, and I'm actually a fan of the album. I'm not just saying that. I'm not just calling your bluff here. I'm actually a real fan. I was talking to somebody about that the other day. I was like, damn, they want me to get Jacob Bryant on here because usually I'm a mediocre middle type podcast. I don't get millions of views, but I also don't get, 6. I'm fair well in the middle class. And so for me, it's always hard to go for the major artists that are in like Warner Brothers or Sony or stuff like. It's always hard because sure, I have names like like Jeannie Seeley and all those Hall of Famers I have, but it's like no one cares about the Hall of Famers. They're like, okay, have you had Florida Georgia Line? Have you had Willie Nelson? Have you had And so kind of getting tied in here with 30 Tigers is kind of an honor for me to do because it's like you said, it's not independent. People consider it independent, but it's actually not. And I appreciate you actually taking the time and actually wanting to do this for me.
Absolutely, brother. I appreciate you as well. The feeling's mutual. So